The idea of responding to everything in real time, to be on top of everything in real time? Not only is this not a recipe for productivity, it's a recipe for misery too. Epictetus says it comes down to persisting and resisting, meaning there's some stuff you should start doing, you should keep doing. There's other stuff that you should stop doing, you should resist doing. Things that Stoics should not do. Generally, Stoics aren't trying to be afraid of things, but of all the things a Stoic tries specifically not to fear is changes. Marcus Aurelius says all things are born from change, right? Everything good that ever happened to you in your life came from change. A Stoic doesn't fear change, because they're prepared for stuff, because they know they can handle anything. Marcus Aurelius in Meditations says, "What am I going to do about tomorrow?" He says, "I'm going to meet it with the same weapons that I met today." Knowing what you're capable of, knowing what you can handle, means you don't have to fear change. You don't need to cling to make everything the same, and part of the Stoic idea of indifference doesn't mean you don't care. Preparation. A Stoic does, they don't need things to be a certain way. Stoics doesn't have to have a preference about how things are going to go tomorrow, whether it's going to be rainy or beautiful, whether it's going to be hot or cold, whether people are going to love them or hate them. They know what they're supposed to do, they can handle anything. So Stoics doesn't fear change, doesn't have preferences, because we don't need to, we can handle anything that life throws at us. A lot of stuff happens every day, every minute, but here's the thing, most of it doesn't even matter. Marcus really says, you're better off not giving small things more attention than they're worth. Basically, don't sweat the small stuff, the stuff that's not up to you, the stuff that doesn't move you closer to where you want to get in life, the stuff that distracts you from what you actually should be doing. You have to tune it out. The idea that you don't have to have an opinion about this, it doesn't even have to register with you, you can ignore it, you can stay focused on what matters, you can ask yourself, is this essential? Does it matter? And if it doesn't, what do you do? When someone criticizes you, do this. Think about this person, think about what they just submitted to, think about who they are, think about what they're addicted to, think about what they've ever accomplished, and what you realize is that this person whose opinion you were about to let supersede your own evaluation of yourself in your work is actually worse than meaningless. They're like the opposite of who you're trying to be, so it's good that they don't like what you're doing, you don't want their approval. Focus on what you think, focus on who you want to be. We usually love ourselves more than other people, then, for some reason, we care about other people's opinions more than our own. That's insanity. You got to focus on your sense of self, that's what you measure yourself against, not the nonsense of other people. Quite frankly, you don't respect anyone. A Stoic doesn't need to get even. Marcus Aurelius says the best revenge is to not be like that, and this is a person who experienced coups, who were lied about, who was attacked constantly. The best revenge is to not be like the person who wronged you. Seneca says that we get angry about things, but how ridiculous that is. He says you never return a kick to a mule. A Stoic understands that by nature of what we do, going to get attacked, we're going to get criticized. People suck. They're going to do things, but what a Stoic doesn't do is need to get revenge because someone did something to you. You're fine, you weren't harmed by it, you're gonna be all right and you can let it go. People wake up and what's the first thing they do? They check their messages, they check their email, basically make themselves an item on someone else's to-do list. The quality of their day is determined about what so and so tweeted or what message came in, or what the latest breaking piece of news is, and that's no way to live. Aurelius says you have to stop being jerked around like a puppet, you have to slow down, you want to be in control of your morning, you want to be in control of the inputs that are coming into you. You don't want to be starting the day from behind, you don't want to be starting from this place of franticness, you want to be in control. So start your morning off right, that you start your day off right, now you don't let things coming in determining the quality of your day, the quality of your life. There's a great story about Napoleon, who famously wouldn't read his mail until 3 weeks after it arrived. He knew that most problems will resolve themselves, but if you're checking constantly if you're so reachable, you'll be inserting yourself into things that you don't need to be inserted, as you'll be spending time on things that will resolve themselves. Marcus used a similar strategy. Not only is this not a recipe for productivity, it's a recipe for misery too. You have to be willing not to know every single thing that's going on, to not be so reachable that anyone can interrupt you in your concentration. Anytime, follow Napoleon's advice: sleep with your phone in the other room, leave your phone in the other room and you're going to do something important. Don't be so reachable. You don't have to let this get to you. Marcus says you don't have to let it upset you. You always have the option to have no opinion. He says you can just let it go. You can let it drift by like clouds, as the Buddhists talk about when they talk about thoughts. You don't have to let it sink in. Don't have to let it harm you. You don't have to let it get you riled up. You don't have to respond. You can just let it go. Epictetus says that when you look outside yourself for approval, you've handed over your happiness, or your autonomy, meaning, and this is such a critical Stoic idea, when we talk about what's in our control, how you should judge yourself, whether you're getting better, whether you're a success, whether you're rich, whether you're whatever it is, it can't be determined by other. What you've done is hand over your life on a platter to other people. Obviously, this is wonderful when people are celebrating you, but what happens when that turns? What happens if the times that you're in are valuing the wrong things? Epictetus is saying that you want to look inward, you want to create your own standards, your own scorecard for what's important to you. So a Stoic doesn't look to outside sources, outside people, outside benchmarks for their success, for their happiness, for the self-worth. You find that internally. Epictetus said that philosophy wasn't this dry abstract thing, it was a thing. He said you should be talking about, writing down, reading about, exploring with other people all the time. He said constantly have it at hand, so feel free to take notes from my videos.